Welcome to episode 1 of the Rust Programming Language series. In this episode, we're going to create a very simple and classic application. You need to have Rust and a text editor installed on your computer for this episode. And if you haven't installed Rust yet, make sure to watch episode 0 where we install Rust. Now, this application that we're going to create is called Hello World, and all that it does is print Hello World in the terminal. This might seem too basic, but it's usually your first application that you create in any language. So start by opening your terminal and navigating to where you want to store your files. I'm going to create my files in a subdirectory in the Documents folder. So to change directory, enter cd and the folder that you want to go to. CD stands for Change Directory, and it's going to be very useful if you don't already know it. So press enter. Now I'm going to make a new directory called Rust. And to make a new directory, you enter the make directory command. And after the make directory command, you need to enter the name that you want to use. And to make this tutorial simple, try to not use any special characters or spaces. So I'm going to make the Rust directory. Now that that's completed, I'm going to create my first project. And first we need to change into the Rust directory. But to create a Rust project, we're going to use the cargo application that's installed with Rust. And in a future episode, we're going to dive deeper into cargo. But for now, you can think of cargo as an organizer for Rust. And to make a new project, enter cargo new, and then whatever you want to call your application. And I'm going to call mine episode 1. Before pressing enter, you want to add the binary tag to tell cargo that we're making a binary. And essentially, why we're doing this is to tell cargo that we're not going to create a library. So now press enter and let cargo work its magic. Alright, so now that cargo is finished, you want to open up your text editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code. And in your text editor, you want to open up the project folder that we just created. So I'm going to open the episode 1 project folder. And in here, you're going to see that cargo created 3 files, 1, 2, 3. And 1 directory, src, for us. And for now, we're going to ignore the .gitignore and the cargo.toml file. The src directory stands for source, and that's where you're going to have all of your code. In the source directory, you'll find the main.rust file that cargo created for us. So open up that file. So delete all of the code inside of the main.rust file. Now I want to enforce good principles of coding, and one of those is to always comment your code. And this might seem weird to comment code before you write it, but actually I think it's quite the contrary. Commenting your code before you write it makes sure you remember what you were trying to accomplish when you first wrote the application. So to make a comment, you start with 2 slashes. This is going to tell the compiler to ignore whatever is on the line after the slashes. So what are we actually trying to accomplish? Like I said before, we want to print out Hello World. So I'm going to comment // application that prints out Hello World. And now we can actually start writing our code. So to make a new function, you write out fn, and in other languages you might use func or function, but in Rust all we use is fn. And after fn, you want to use the main function, and the main function is the function that executes whenever you run your application. For all functions, you need to put parentheses after the function name. And in some of these, you're going to put arguments in here, but not for this one. So right now, just open and close the parentheses. You want to put all the code for a function inside curly braces. So after the parentheses, put an opening and a closing curly brace, like so. The function used to print something to the terminal in Rust is the print function. And we need to put an exclamation mark at the end, which technically makes it a macro, but to make this easier, just think about it like a function. And just like the main function, you need parentheses for the print function. You want to use quotes for normal predefined text. And in these quotes, enter hello world, exclamation mark, and then \n. The \n is the signal to Rust that we want to print a new line after the hello world. Now, save the code and go back to your terminal. In the terminal, change into your application directory. In there, you want to enter the cargo run command to compile and run your application. As you can see, it prints out hello world. For almost all print statements, you want to print a new line after the text. So in Rust, there's another function that's just like the print function, but it automatically adds the \n for us. So change your code to println and remove the \n. The ln in println stands for line, so this reads print line. Now save, compile, and run your application again, and as you can see, we get the same results. So this concludes this episode, but I want you guys to try different things with the print and print line function before moving on to episode 2 to really make sure you understand these two functions and the difference between them. Good luck!